Well, good morning everybody. Rob here in Bakersfield on the 2001 Custom Chrome Industries Softail kit bike. I'm gonna head out and do my Throwback Thursday. Before I get into that though, I'm gonna answer a few questions people are always asking. Yes, it's a kit bike. You can buy it in the kit form, put it all together yourself, or there are companies that will do that for you. When I originally bought it back in 2001, that's what I did. I had a company put it together for me and ship it to me. I rode it for 2 years. It was in what they called a pro comp style. And after about 2 years, the front gas tank mount split. So I had to get new gas tanks for it. So I decided to redo it at that time. Had the 4-inch longer extended gas tanks. They came all the way back here. Had a different seat on it. I put a different front fender on it and repainted it. That was pretty much all I did to it at that time. Then, as you know, those of you who follow my channel, I rode it up to here about last September. Hit a 4x4 out on the freeway, bent the front rim. And I got working on her, and I was having problems with it also running. I discovered that the gas tanks, the cream sealer inside the gas tanks, had turned into like Elmer's glue and was clogging up the fuel filter and the fuel lines and the carburetor, so I decided to completely redo it in what I call a bar hopper style, or bobber kind of style. But I call it bar hopper because that's what we called them back in the 60s, because it isn't really a true bobber style. But to answer some questions, what it is, that's a mid-USA frame. It's been stretched and raked. It's got a longer front end on it. It has a RevTech 88 engine in it that's rated at 88 horsepower, running a Mikuni carburetor. It's got a RevTech 5-speed transmission, and everything on it is either made by Custom Chrome Industries or other companies. They're all aftermarket parts. There's really nothing Harley Davidson on it other than the tires. But everything is kind of interchangeable with the Harley Davidson parts as far as brakes and that kind of thing. Engine and transmission and primary and stuff, no, that's specialized to RevTech. But you know, starter and oil tank and pipes and brakes and all that controls and everything, you can all use Harley stuff on there. And the big problem is some of the stuff is for like a 99 and back, and some of the stuff is from like a 2000 and up. So it's a real pain in the butt trying to buy parts for it because you never know what's going to really fit. So that takes care of answering some of them questions everybody's always asking. Let's head out on the road and do the Throwback Thursday. Today's episode is going to be called the Poopy Pants Rapist. Now this story's got some funny aspects to it, and it's also got some aspects that's going to be a little educational for some of you people out there who don't know what's up. Alright, I was working Eastern Division, 2nd watch, down around El Cajon Boulevard. It was a Friday night and it was busy. By the time I left the station, I had calls backed up waiting for me. So I was just running from one radio call to the next, taking reports, getting all the information, collecting evidence, and then just saving all the paperwork until later. I knew I was going to be working overtime that night because of the load of calls we had. So anyways, I had just cleared, well, I hadn't actually cleared yet. I had just finished doing a burglary report, and I was getting ready to clear on the radio. But I was thinking about grabbing a cup of coffee and going to the bathroom before doing it because I had not had a chance to get a cup of coffee or use the restroom since leaving the station. Anyways, I'm heading to the 7-Eleven to get a coffee and use the restroom, and the dispatcher from Central Division which was on the other side of the freeway, comes over on our frequency, and she's calling for a cover unit to go over and help two officers that are in a foot pursuit of a rape suspect. And they just had a rape occurred. The guy had beaten a woman and raped her and took off, and she called the police, and they were in the neighborhood. They'd spotted him, and they were chasing him around the neighborhood on foot trying to catch him, and they were calling for help. Well, nobody's answering up because everybody else is just as busy as I am, or was. So I figured, okay, fine, I'll go ahead and answer up and head that way. They'll probably end up catching him before I get there anyways. So I volunteer to go cover and take the call. And I'm heading that way. And I switch over to Central's frequency so I can follow what's going on as they're chasing him through the neighborhood. Oh, good morning, Mr. OPD. Or, no, that's the BPD. Where's my brain thinking? I'm thinking I'm back in Oceanside. No, he wasn't radaring me. He's radaring the car behind me. How about that? That's nice. Oh, and there's the Kern County Sheriff. I'm going to see them all today. I got to see the CHP, Park Ranger. Oh, well, there's so many of them in this town. It's ridiculous. There must be like 8 different agencies in this town. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, I'm heading over. Okay, I'm 2 beats away on the other side of the freeway from Central Division. Now, this is not a code 3 priority call, which means I'm not allowed to use my lights and sirens to get through traffic to get over there and help them catch this rapist. So I had to pick my way through traffic without using that. In the past, the officers were given the discretion of deciding whether or not they wanted to run code 2, which was lights only, or code 3, which is lights and siren. But our fine citizens would call and complain and bitch that we were running through the neighborhoods with lights and sirens going, making too much noise, disturbing their peace, blah, 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 going nowhere except seemingly heading for the 7-Eleven for coffee and donuts. At least that was their perception of it. So, the only way to get through that heavy Friday night cruising traffic on El Cajon Boulevard is you get stuck behind traffic, you flash your headlights, you honk your horn, and you wave at people to move over. Most of them did. Occasionally there'd be some a-hole that would not move over because he's not going to move over for the cops, because you're not using your lights and sirens. You're just honking your horn at him and flashing your headlights and waving at him, trying to get out of the way. He has no clue what you're doing, that you're trying to get over there to catch a rapist. He thinks you're just heading to the local 7-Eleven for coffee. So he ain't going to get out of your way. So you have to pick and choose your open spots, pretty much like when you're riding a motorcycle, and zip in and out of traffic. And yeah, occasionally you go over the speed limit to do so. So there, I'm going by all these people, and of course I'm getting dirty looks. I'm getting the one finger salute and people honking at me, you know, and everything, which is normal because they don't have a clue what you're doing. And I finally get over there through the traffic, and I get to the neighborhood, and I'm coming down the street, got my bright lights on, and off this side street, all of a sudden the suspect comes running right out in the middle of the street, right in front of my patrol car. Well, there's CHP. Well, now I've seen pretty much all of them. So, the idiot freezes like a deer in caught in the headlights and just stops right in the middle of the road, right in front of my patrol car as I'm barreling down on him. Yeah, going a little bit too fast. And I lock up the tires into a 4-way skid, trying to stop at time. And he's standing there in the middle of the street in front of my car. I'm in a 4-tire skid, don't really have a whole lot of control, and I'm trying to get the car to turn to the right so I don't hit him. And I'm sliding to a stop. He's standing there, and we're, you know, looking at each other, make eye contact. And I see his eyes roll back in his head, and his head slouches back, and he just falls to the ground, passed out. Well, I don't have a lot of control over the car. I can't take my foot off the brake because I'm going to run right over him. I don't have any room to go to the right because there's cars parked on the side of the street. And I just come to a skidding halt. I throw the car into park, put on the emergency brake, jump out, run around to the front, and there he is laying underneath my car. And my front driver's side tire is about this far away from hitting his head. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that was lucky. I just about squashed that guy's head like a gourd. That would have been a hell of a mess. Not only the fact of killing somebody, but I would have got days off without pay and had a hell of a lot of paperwork to do, and I would have sure been wound up with a bunch of overtime on that deal. So anyways, he's laying there, passed out on the ground underneath my car. I whip out my handcuffs and handcuff him. Drag him out from underneath the car, roll him over. Well, he's still passed out, so I slap him across the face a couple times to bring him around. And as I'm doing this, the two officers that were chasing him on foot, they come running up and they see me dragging him out from underneath that car. And the one guy yells, "Oh my God, did you run over him? Did you hit him?" And I go, "No." Well, they were all afraid that I had hit him with the car, you know, and injured him. So I told him, no, he just passed out. I didn't run over him, you know, and all this stuff. And we're standing there talking, you know, and this guy's, you know, saying all kinds of crap. And we got him handcuffed, and the one officer's checking him for weapons. And as he's patting him down for weapons, all of a sudden we realized that I had literally scared the crap out of the guy. And he pooped his pants. And so then we were sitting there, and we realized that we have got a crowd standing over on the sidewalk across from us, gathering. And of course they're all yelling, you know, "Oh, call an ambulance, he ran him over with this car." And you know, expletives, you know, effing pigs, you know, leave the brother alone, blah, blah, blah. You know, yelling police brutality because someone would see me slap him across the face to bring him around. Well, we're just kind of ignoring all them because, you know, and the crowd's getting bigger and continuing their yelling and shouting at us. Well, the other two officers, they're getting a little concerned, you know. They want to load the guy into my patrol car and go over to where their patrol cars are so they can transport him downtown to jail. Not so. I'm not putting that mess in my car and have to clean my car out. I said, I'll stay here with him. You go get your patrol car and bring it back over here and you transport him. I'm not putting that mess in my car, man. No way. So they take off to go get their patrol cars. They go running off. Well, the crowd, they don't know what's going on. They see this. They think they've scared these two officers off and that they are leaving me behind at the mercy of the crowd. So there's, you know, yelling at them, you know, as they're running off. And I'm standing there with the suspect laying on the ground, handcuffed, you know, and he's crying and moaning, you know, and all this other BS. He wasn't hurt. You know, I'd made sure of that. He didn't have a scratch on him. So I'm standing there and the crowd's getting uglier and uglier. And so I walk back over to my patrol car, which the door is still open, and I pull out my baton out of the holder on the door. And I turn and face the crowd and slide my baton into its little ring holder on my gun belt. And I walk back over to the suspect. And I just stand there next to the suspect, facing the crowd, with my arms folded across my chest, staring them down, not saying a word, as they continue to shout, you know, "Get the pig, F the pig, you know, call an ambulance, police brutality, we're gonna file a complaint against you, blah, blah, blah," and all this other stuff. Well, I wasn't really worried that the crowd was gonna come and attack me, because I could tell that they were just shooting their mouths off more than anything. It's not like they were really going to actually come over there. But if they did, I was ready for it. I would do what I had to do to protect myself and keep my suspect in custody. So the other officers, they finally show up with their 2 patrol cars, because we're all 1 officer units, so everybody had their own car. So then came the discussion of how were they going to transport him downtown to the jail. And I said, well, you just get the plastic blanket out of the trunk that we used to cover up dead bodies with, wrap that around him, and take your back seat out of your patrol car, put it in his patrol car, and then just lay him down across the inside there. Huh? That way everything's all contained inside that plastic sheet, and you can throw that away and requisition a new one when you get to the station. So they thought that was a pretty good idea, so that's what we did. We wrapped him all up, stuck him in there, laying face down on it, and they're all the crowd's all over there yelling, you know, what are you doing? Call an ambulance, you ran him over, he's hurt, police brutality, what are you doing to him now? All kinds of crap. I don't know what they were thinking. Probably thought we were going to wrap him up and go dump his body out in the desert somewhere or something. I don't know. I didn't really care what they thought. But that goes to show you how people can misconstrue things, you know. I mean, they thought I had ran him over with the car, which I didn't. They thought it was police brutality when I slapped him across the face, which that was just to bring him back to consciousness because he had passed out. And they thought we were being cruel by leaving him laying there in the street, but they didn't realize he crapped his pants and we weren't going to stick him in our patrol cars. And he didn't need an ambulance, so, you know, that's all that. We get him loaded in there and those 2 guys haul out with him, and I'm still standing there looking at the crowd. And I walk back over to my car, slide my baton back into its holder on the driver's side door. And I'm thinking, well, should I bother going and talking to him and trying to explain to him what was going on? Or just leave and let them have their misconceptions of what they saw? Well, I got in my car, drove off. And as I drove off, I smiled and waved to him. And I went ahead and cleared the call. Told the dispatcher to let my dispatcher know I was heading back to my beat, and I was switching back to my channel. So I switched back to my channel to find out I've got 4 more radio calls sitting there waiting for me when I get back to my beat. And I told her, okay, well, I'm going to take 5 minutes and stop and get a cup of coffee and go to the bathroom before I go there. So I head up to the corner and I go down and I pull into the nearest 7-Eleven and go get me a cup of coffee and use the restroom. And of course, everybody's that I had been cutting in. Oh, I missed the green light. Everybody I'd been cutting in and out of traffic on to get over there to that call and everything, they're, you know, still cruising the boulevard. And they see me. I don't know if they realize it's the same cop or not, or if they think it's a different cop. I think I'll go right. But anyways, they're all sitting there, and as I'm getting my coffee all made up, you know, some guy there, the 7, he comes walking by and he goes, is that all you cops ever do is drink coffee and eat donuts? And I looked at him and I said, yeah, that's all we do. And get back to my patrol car and I drive off. So that's my story about the Poopy Pants Rapist. I literally scared the crap out of him. And got another one on my mark. In my career, I arrested quite a few rapists. That was one of the things I really focused on, was arresting rapists. I would study the crime reports and patterns and descriptions, and I would actually go out and hunt for them. And quite a few of them were arrested because of my reports I did up and the evidence I collected. I had specialized training in crime reporting and evidence collection, and put in the extra work to catch those guys. And then also that gives you a little insight as to why you see cops running around town without their lights and sirens on, exceeding the speed limit, weaving in and out of traffic, flashing their headlights at you and honking their horn at you. It's because they're on their way to an urgent call, but they are not given a code 3 permission to run on that call. And why a lot of times you'll see that cop going along and then he'll get called off the call because they catch the guy, so he's no longer needed. So he slows down, pulls into a 7-Eleven, runs in and gets a cup of coffee and uses the bathroom because it's probably been 2 or 3 hours since the last time he had a chance to go to the bathroom or get a cup of coffee. Of course, to the uneducated general public, all they see is some cop running around town, speeding, weaving in and out of traffic without his lights on to go to the 7-Eleven. Anyways, so that's my story about the Poopy Pants Rapist, and a little bit of education as to why you see so many cops running around like that. So the next time you see a cop coming up behind you and he's flashing his headlights and honking his horn and he wants you to get out of the way, why don't you get out of his way? Because he's on his way to something important. And if later down the line you see him stopped at the 7-Eleven getting coffee, it's probably because he got called off the call because they're all over with and they didn't need him and he needed a bathroom break. Well, if you enjoyed my story, hit the like button, give me some comments. If you didn't like my story and you gotta make some comments about cops running around breaking the law and you don't think it's right, well, keep this in mind. He just might be on his way to arrest some rapist that just beat the crap out of some woman and raped her that you may know or be related to. But then again, maybe she's not someone you know, but even so, she deserves to have that guy caught and arrested. Whether you know her or not, whether you feel sorry for her or not, you never know what's going on.